Dub, dub, da, dub, da, dub, da, dub, dub. Yes. Oh. Now my dirty they smell like this. Now to throw away am quick. This kind smell fit make man sick. That woman throw away dirty for ground. Me sef go do the same this time around.
Hold up.
See, to do this kind badness by the book, you make sure say person no dey look. And then you drop am nicely, bros. Nothing will happen. Trust me.
See, if you throw away dirty for ground, another person sef throw away dirty. Everybody come begin to throw away dirty for ground. Everywhere go come dey smell. Gutter go block, road go block, and you wey like to dey dab. Na him say no more dabbing for you be that o. Dab 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 dab. Yes.
A very lovely day to you. Thanks for joining us on News on the Hour here on New Frontiers Television. I am Precious Amayo. The presidency today confirmed that the National Assembly has formally transmitted a 2017 appropriation bill recently passed into law to the executive. The senior special assistant to the acting president, Mr. Laolu Akonde, who confirmed this, said the document was formally received in the office of the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, today. Akonde added that the bill is currently undergoing diligent consideration by the executive arm of government. The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, had on Wednesday said that that upon receipt of the document, copies will be made available to ministers to compare what their ministries sent to the National Assembly and what was returned. The Federal Ministry of Transportation has today said that the Southeast Zone had not been excluded from the federal government's ongoing rail project. A statement by the Director of Public Relations, Yetunde Shonaike, said that the ministry was embarking on two major rail projects in the country. She said that the ongoing rail projects were the Coastal Rail Project from Lagos to Calabar and the Lagos to Kano rail lines. Shonaike, a loan from the China Exim Bank, would be used to fund the three segments from the two major rail projects, which were Lagos-Ibadan, Kano-Kaduna, and Lagos-Kano. She said that the federal government rail project touches various sections of the country and therefore no section will be left out. Still on national issues, the Federal Road Safety Corps, FROSC, today has said that motorists were complying with the installation of the speed limit devices in their vehicles. Mr. Umaru Abdullahi, the Ore unit commander of the Corps in Ore, Ondo State, said that most of the commercial vehicles plying the Benin-Ore Expressway had installed the device. He said that the introduction of the device by the FROSC was to reduce road crashes on the highways and to engender safety of lives and property. The FROSC boss said that the unit command had embarked on a sensitization program on the device to ensure that all motorists installed it in their vehicles. He urged other road users who have yet to install the device to do so, as the enforcement of its compliance was now in force. The federal government will convey 164 parents and relatives of the 82 Chibok schoolgirls that were rescued 2 weeks ago today. A top security source said 82 girls were rescued 2 weeks ago. Each of the girls is entitled to 2 parents or 2 relatives, as the case may be, which implies that 164 parents or relatives will be conveyed to Abuja by the federal government. When asked to explain how the parents would be transported, the source said that the government had organized vehicles that would be used to convey the parents. The source did not, however, say if the parents would be driven for 13 hours from Chibok to Abuja or if they would be conveyed from Chibok to an airport and then flown afterwards. There were 2 bomb explosions last night at the University of Maiduguri, according to Abu Babati, the president of the student union government of the institution. The first one went off at about 10:50 p.m. on Thursday, with the second about 2 hours later, about 12 a.m. today. The first explosion, according to the student union leader, occurred around the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, where the bomber detonated the bomb when accosted and shot at by soldiers stationed inside the university. Babati said the second explosion was around BOT Hostel, which is a female hostel. The campus has been under the attack of suicide bombers in recent time. The controversial arms procurement deals under the immediate past administration of Goodluck Jonathan have become a subject of litigation in the United States, where a national of Niger Republic, Hyman Abubakar, and a U.S. arms dealer, Ara Dolarian, are locked in a legal battle involving a $246 million contract. The $246 million, all the height of the Boko Haram insurgency in 2014, was for the supply of weapons and equipment, including helicopters, bombs, and ammunition. The deal reportedly collapsed in 2015, and the arms never arrived, forcing Abubakar to sue Dolarian for fraud in a California court. We'll take a break now, and when we return, we'll have more stories. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Looking now at the power sector in Nigeria. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has declared that eligible power consumers are now free to purchase electricity directly from power generation companies. By declaring eligible customers, the minister has empowered the consumer to buy electricity directly from a licensee other than power distribution companies, a development that the DISCOs opposed recently. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission today stated that Fashola declared 4 categories of eligible customers in the Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI, on May 15, 2017, describing the declaration as a major policy directive in the NESI. This customer, according to NERC, must be subject to a distribution use of system agreement for the delivery of electrical energy. Away from power sector now to the oil and gas sector, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASIN, and a subsidiary of United States-based ExxonMobil Corporation, Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited, have reached an agreement to end a dispute over the sacking of some employees. This is coming a week after Mobil Producing Nigeria branch of PENGASIN rejected a directive from the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, that is, industrial action should be suspended. The oil workers said they were protesting the alleged refusal of the oil major to honor an agreement that it will review the sacking of 83 employees in December, and that none of the workers that participated in the protest that month would be sanctioned for their actions. It was, however, gathered that PENGASIN and Mobil reached an agreement and were to sign a communique to that effect. The Nigerian Ports Authority, NPA, and an Integrated Logistics Services Nigeria Limited, Intels, Nigeria's leading logistic firm for the oil and gas industry, are locked in a fierce business dispute with the NPA threatening to terminate Intel's port revenue collection contract. Those familiar with the matter said the dispute, which has seen the two parties hold several tension-soaked meetings and exchange aggressive correspondences, arose from Intel's alleged non-compliance with the federal government's Treasury single account policy. The two parties also appear to disagree over the funding of the capital project the logistics company is handling for the NPA. Intel was co-founded by former Vice President and Chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Atiku Abubakar, and an Italian businessman, Gabriel Volpi, in the 1980s. And now on to technology. The deadly ransomware virus WannaCry that hit no fewer than 150 countries across the globe at the weekend is spreading panic around the world, causing widespread damage. The cyber attack that crippled 200,000 computers globally might be truly felt in the days ahead as a deadline given by the attackers draws near. Addressing the issue, a cyber security expert, Ayola Falola, explained the WannaCry virus as a malware created to encrypt your file and limit your access to it until you pay the stipulated amount the attackers are asking for.
WannaCry is this ransomware, or let's say it's a virus or a malware that kidnaps your data for you to pay some ransom. That is why it's called ransomware. But it's not like they kidnap anything, because the file are not, the file are still there on your system, but you cannot access it. It's been encrypted, but you need to pay some money before they can decrypt.
While he said individuals might be at low risk of cyber attacks, he enjoined Nigerians to protect their data by ensuring all software are genuine and up to date, and also by following their other stipulated security measures.
Third-party software. Don't use a software you don't know what is going on in the software. Don't use a proprietary software that somebody else built. The person would likely put a backdoor. You should ensure that every software that you're using is up to date. Every facility that you're using is up to date. That is the basic. Then the other thing is you should be using an antivirus, an updated antivirus. So it doesn't really, I mean, the most popular ones nowadays are just fine, but make sure they are updated. And the other thing is, there are other things are a bit technical, talking about firewalls and then virtual private network. And there are so many other things as well that, I mean, which may require education of people, and this is a global phenomenon.
Now on to the anti-graft war in Nigeria. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, today in an Abuja High Court, Maitama applied to amend charges against the retired Air Vice Marshal Akali Mawu. Mr. Mawu, former Air Officer Training Command Kaduna, was on June 21st arraigned before Justice Salisu Gaba on a 3-count charge of receiving gratification. The EFCC had alleged that Mr. Mawu collected a cash gift in a sum of 5.9 million naira for the purchase of a Range Rover Evoque as a member of Procurement and Planning Committee of Defense. Also included are 2 vehicles, a Ford Expedition SUV and Jaguar SF saloon car, valued at 15 million naira and 12 million naira respectively, from Societe de Equipment International Nigeria Limited, a contractor with the Nigerian Air Force. Still on the anti-graft war and court-related issues, Justice Riwan Aikawa of the Federal High Court, Lagos, has ordered the formal forfeiture of 449,597,000 found by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in a Legico shopping mall, Victoria Island, Lagos, to the federal government of Nigeria. The EFCC had on April 8 said it uncovered a large sum of suspected laundered money in the shopping plaza. Mr. Aikawa had on April 19 ordered an interim forfeiture of the said money uncovered by the commission. The order came following a motion expertise filed by Rotimi Oyedipo, a prosecutor with the EFCC, pursuant to Section 17 of the Advanced Fee Fraud and Other Fraud-Related Offences Act Number 14, 2006. We'll take a break now, and when we return, business will be up next. Do stay with us. The federal government has directed all relevant ministries, departments and agencies operating at the nation's airports and seaports to harmonize their operation into a single interface station. While those at the airports have 30 days to merge, those operating at seaports must do so within 60 days. This is one of the highlights of an executive order on the promotion of transparency and efficiency in the business environment signed by the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, on Wednesday. The order read, all relevant MDAs at the airports shall within 30 days of the issuance of this order merge their respective departure and arrival interfaces into a single customer interface without prejudice to necessary back-end procedures. By the order, the Apapa port is expected to resume 24-hour operations within 30 days. The European Union Commission has barred a Nigerian carrier, Medview Airline, from operating in its airspace over safety concerns. The airline is one of those under the EU Air Safety List Annex A, which have been banned from operating in Europe. A total of 181 airlines were prevented from flying into Europe, with 174 airlines barred due to safety oversight by aviation authorities in their home countries. The EU Air Safety List is a list of non-European airlines that do not meet international safety standards and are therefore subject to an operating ban or operational restrictions within the European Union. In the updated version, all carriers from Benin Republic and Mozambique were removed from the list, while 4 individual airlines, one each from Nigeria, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ukraine and Zimbabwe, were added. The International Monetary Fund has raised South Africa's growth forecast for this year after recoveries in the agriculture and mining sectors, but perceptions of policy uncertainty posed a downside risk, a senior official said on Thursday. The IMF expects Africa's most industrialized economy to grow by 1% this year, more than an earlier projection of 0.8%. South Africa's treasury expects growth of 1.3% this year, up from 0.3% in 2016. South Africa is still harvesting 14.54 million tons of maize in 2017, up 87% from last year's drought-hit crop after rains returned, the government's crop estimates committee forecast last month. Precious Amayu reporting. Welcome back from Business Report. Now, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, is now in Mali to inspect French troops in that country. This report and more is up next on Foreign News.
Emmanuel Macron will undertake his first trip as commander-in-chief today, when he meets troops fighting Islamist militants in Mali, where the security situation has worsened despite French intervention more than 4 years ago. The Sahel, a politically fragile area whose desert spaces spanning from Mauritania in the west to Sudan in the east host a medley of jihadist groups, is seen as vulnerable after a series of attacks in recent months. Macron, a newcomer to international diplomacy, put counter-terrorism at the top of his security priorities during the election campaign, vowing to strengthen support for West African allies. And on to Russia, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Gennady Gatilov has said that a U.S. coalition strike in Syria on May 17 had hit civilians and said it was unacceptable. Gatilov, who was speaking in Geneva, said the strike had violated Syria's sovereignty and would not help efforts to find a political solution to the conflict there. And on to the United States, where the U.S. military has said that 2 Chinese Su-30 aircraft carried out an unprofessional intercept of a U.S. aircraft designed to detect radiation while it was flying in international airspace over the East China Sea. Air Force spokeswoman Lieutenant Colonel Lori Hodge said the issue was being addressed with China through appropriate diplomatic and military channels. Hodge stated that the U.S. characterization of the incident was based on initial report from the U.S. aircrew aboard the WC-135 Constant Phoenix aircraft due to the maneuvers by the Chinese pilot, as well as the speed and proximity of both aircraft. She added that the WC-135 was carrying out a routine mission at the time and was operating in accordance with international law. Olajumoke Babalola reporting.
And that's all for news on the hour here on New Frontiers Television. Thanks for staying with us. I am Precious Amayo. Enjoy the rest of your day.